actually.
Welcome back to the Elite Edge Podcast. We have the one and only Melanie Suber, my amazing wife, and happy Valentine's Day for those watching this podcast. This is where top players go, become elite, world-class people. And my wife and I have built a $1.6 billion real estate transaction team in the past couple of years alone. And we're breaking down how to work together with your partner to get the best results and living in life.
Thanks for having me. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope whether you're single, partnered, or whatever it looks like for you, that you're soaking in the people that you love, because at its core, that's what the holiday is about.
Yeah, most definitely. All about love, no, where you're at in your life and your journey. And we ask so often, especially the more we do in real estate, companies and so forth, how you guys work together, what you guys do, what's your tips and secrets and so forth. So we kind of break down today the kind of all thought processes behind that. Let us really, work together as a team.
Yeah, I will say that to begin with, we were both entrepreneurs when we met. So we already, as individuals, had that within us, which I think, is important. A lot of people in relationships often look for someone else to, I want to start a business with someone, and then they don't do it themselves, and they just want someone else to kind of change that about themselves too. But I think it's really important to be the person that you want to attract, or, be the person that you want to embody the partnership that you want within yourself. And so I think that's really important. We were both really into business and self-improvement, self-development when we met. And so then it was really easy for us to combine forces because we already had a lot of that, a lot of the habits, and a lot of the mindsets in common.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. I think having the core principles and value up front is super imperative. Having good partnerships, like any team you have, if you're hiring employees and so forth, the same thing to be true for that as well. You can't hire people who don't fit your culture. And for your partners, I think this is the most important decision that you ever make. Write that down. The most important decision you ever make is who you choose to be with, because that will dictate your whole entire life moving forward. Are they supportive, not supportive, ambitious, not ambitious, want to travel, not want to travel? All these things play a huge role, I think, like Mary was saying, into how that will look. And especially with kids, all of a sudden, we have a lot of the same principles and values that help us raise him the way we want to, and we both are on the same page more often than not on most things.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think something that Jordan did on our first date that I was taken aback by, but I think really, saved us both a lot of time, was he said, I'm looking for my spouse. I'm not saying I want to marry you today, but I want you to know that I'm looking for someone serious. And he asked me a lot of questions like, do you want kids? Do you, I work a lot. Are you going to be okay with that? Just kind of putting it all out there in the beginning, which I don't know if he did this with other women, but I can imagine that if I had said I don't want kids, for example, and he knew that was a deal breaker, then we could have just ended it there. And what's the point of falling in love if you don't have those values? I think a lot of people start with the fun and the infatuation and then talk about what they want their goals in future to look like. And we really started with the goals in future, and we still had that infatuation and stuff, but then we didn't have to worry, and like he said with Alexander, I don't have to worry, is he gonna not like the way I'm raising him, because we already knew that we were very aligned on those goals and values.
Yep. I think being up front is super important. I know a lot of people, when it comes to dating and businesses, they want to sugarcoat things, hide things, push things to the rug. And for me, I'm gonna put it all out. This is who I am. This is what I want. If I don't want, all you on the same page as me, because life is limited, time is limited. And I met her, modeling event for wedding
venue.
For
those that maybe don't know our story, why don't you say it?
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy story. We met about 5 years ago, right before COVID actually happened, at a modeling event for a wedding venue. And we got paired up as a couple. We hit it off, talk about marketing and business the whole entire time. And then I asked her out at the end, and she told me no. Twice.
I actually just didn't say anything.
Even worse, she totally ignored me when I asked her out the next time. And then finally, we got reconnected. And now you have a baby.
Yeah. And now we have a baby. So also there's a lesson there. If you know what you want, go after it. And the lesson for me is be open-minded, be open to things. Also, the entrepreneur in me says follow up is everything. It's so true. If Jordan hadn't followed up, we would not have been here. And I'm grateful that he had the entrepreneurship in him so that he knew not to give up.
That also was my downfall. She said I was too good at sales.
Yes.
I was asking her like, when should we meet? 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock? And all that things. Assuming the sale.
It's true. And I recognize the tactics because, like I said, I was also an entrepreneur. But anyway, here we are. And so, yeah, I think to answer the first question, how do we do it? It's so important to be aligned on goals and values. And not that we haven't changed since we've met. We have, but we're, I think, more likely to grow in the same direction because we did share those things. Oh, and I wanted to say, Jordan said, don't be afraid, put it all out there. And I think a lot of people are afraid to do that because they don't want to be rejected. But if you know what's important to you, it's actually going to make it easier for you to find who you're looking for. And like Jordan said, whether it's a romantic partner or an employee, or, we're trying to hire someone to help with Alexander. And I'm going to be extreme because I know that I have some extreme things, but I would rather, it's just an easier sorting thing because most people toe the line. But if I say, for example, like, you have to have purple hair to work for me, that's like an automatic yes or no. And people will self-select. And then it's just easier to find the person who will align with what you're looking for. So like I said, being on the other side of that first date where he said that, I found it very refreshing. Most people that I had been on dates with were not at all clear about what they wanted out of life or a relationship. And so that was a breath of fresh air. And then, of course, we asked all of the questions and aligned on them. So that was even more exciting. And like he said, now here we are. So don't be afraid to be yourself and be your whatever makes you weird or whatever you might think makes you weird. That's someone's going to find that and be really excited about that.
Yeah. No, you want be true to yourself, be authentic. I think that's the core cornerstone of everything is be authentic to yourself. Jamie asked us, how do you squeeze in time together? We time block very well. I think we time block times for lunch, breakfast, walks with our dogs, hang out with Alexander. Before Melanie, I was a workaholic and still am, but not nearly as much. I used to work 16, 20-hour days every single day. I would skip meals and only go to the gym and walk my dog. I know that I need to be healthy still, but otherwise, nonstop. Now for wife and the son, everything else, and the whole company, I'm way more holistic. So for us, time blocking is massive. So I time block. After this time, I stopped working more or less. I'm with you guys, or we have dinner together, we have walks together. Now we already have time together. And then what I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people in general are told is don't just talk about business. But if your main passion is business or cooking or your job or X, Y, and Z, do that. It's all about being authentic. I love business. It's one thing I think about. I do all the time. So me and my wife, we bond over that. And luckily for us, we're building an empire together. Again, our real estate team has done $1.6 billion in transactions for the past few years. And I think it's a big part of that because we was just so aligned on that core value.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that we do, the time blocking is the reason really that we can spend time together. But another thing we do is we are just very good at communicating with each other, the good and the bad. For many years, we've been doing weekly meetings with each other. Dates, you could call it a date, just checking in. Where are we at? We talk about our finances. We talk about the business. We talk about our relationship. We talk about now Alexander. And a lot of it is time together. How are, just really checking in. And I think a lot of couples don't do that because maybe they're afraid of the answer, but it's better to make sure that you both are on the same page than one of you not on the same page. And it erupts later in like, you know, resentment or something because you're not talking about it, and then it just is a blow up. So it's much easier to course correct when you're like a little bit off than if you just shove everything under the rug and then you're really off and then it becomes a really big fight.
Yeah, I agree. Never go to bed sad or mad.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, working together on that regards is time blocking time to see each other, make sure you align on that regards, and if you're on a business together, what helped me the most, you know, we have a lot of the same skill sets, is having tasks for each person. So like for me, I do more sales. I'm more the salesperson. So I'm the one doing the presentation for clients and helping do negotiations with all agents on the side of the transaction to get the best deal for us, and she gives me more of the nurture. That's what women in this case do better than I do, is nurturing relationships and making sure our clients know, taking care of them, being happy. What would you add to that?
Yeah, I think defining roles is really important. And I will say, even if you don't run a business together, we were doing this in our household also, you know, pretty much since we were together, because so many couples come in. I think also it's so relevant with parenthood. So many people have these preconceived expectations about what a good wife is, what a good husband is, what a good mom looks like, what a good business partner looks like, you know, what, like, for example, the father that I grew up seeing as a role model is very different than the father that Jordan grew up seeing as a role model. So talk, like, just being explicit and saying like, this is what I want you to do, or this is what I think a good dad does, or this, you know, you can figure out the language, and this is what I think a good mom does, or this is how I'm going to show up as a wife, as a business partner, whatever. And then you're not just making assumptions about, oh, why didn't she send that follow-up email? That's her job. Well, if it was never explicitly stated, you know, then also from a business perspective, things sometimes get missed. So really, like, if you take one thing away from this, it's just communicating about everything, communicating about your expectations, your roles, your values, your goals, your feelings. That's a little bit harder sometimes for the men, I think. But the more you can be on the same page, bless you, then the better. Really, what I've learned. So Jordan and I spend quite a bit of time together, I think more than most couples, because we do work together. And for many years, it was like all day, every day, we were just together grinding. And you can be in the same exact meeting or the same everything and walk away with two totally different, I guess, just, what's the word? Experiences or interpretations of what happened. So that has really taught me that even if you're in the same exact room, two people are never experiencing the same thing. So that's why it's always important to over communicate, because that when you can just assume that this person had this experience or has these feelings because you do, that's when things can get really tricky. Alexander has a little bouquet for Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
If you want more videos with Alexander and let us know. I think it's more fun for you guys to watch, but also it's a little distracting for us. And soon he's going to get pretty heavy. So, but we do what you want. So let us know.
You guys.
We've gotten pretty positive feedback thus far about the videos with him in them. So let us know.
Yep, again. But I think what Melanie's kind of relate to is going to be really imperative on like finding out you have different core values, making sure you guys are on the same team, making sure that you guys have roles and responsibilities that you're following by, all super important for us and what helps us the most. And also, like, as you guys scale your own businesses and so forth, find ways to get more help, not to do it by yourself. You know, back in the day, everybody had a village helping them raise their kids or help do the empire. You guys know I love royalty, and like the king is not a king by himself. He needs to have a whole queen and the empire and the court and the cities and so forth to make that happen. And the same is true for your own little empires, your own little castles you guys have personally, in your own homes and businesses. You have help helping you scale quicker, get more time back, and so forth. Helps us a lot, especially now. Our business is doing a lot of production, helping a lot of people, and without having amazing rock star A players helping us, it'd be a lot harder to do. So I think having help is also a big part of that. And again, when you're doing like your breakdown of roles and responsibilities, like have a diagram. Like, okay, Melanie, Jordan. Jordan wants to do this, this, and this. Melanie enjoys this, this, and this. And then scratch off everything is the same as each other and find out who's best for that role. Don't have overlapping stuff if you can't help it or not. As well as we both do marketing, but like we're both not doing sales calls. I'm doing sales calls. She could do sales calls, but it makes more sense for me to do them instead. So find ways to make sure that it's not going to be overlapping things you're doing. You have more of a ways to scale quicker and not have that much of a headache.
Agree. Except in the household thing, obviously, like
Yeah.
business, you know, we're both going to parent Alexander. It looks different now. I think a mother's role and a father's role are very different, but it's not. There are some things within the house that I think you can share, like, oh, every other week, or, you know, every couple is different. But again, I would really just say it comes down to communicating and getting on the same page and not making assumptions, because I think that's where a lot of I think that's where a lot of troubles come when things go unsaid. And I get it, because it can be scary to bring something up and you don't want a big fight and whatever. But another thing that we say to each other, we have a few, but it's us versus the problem, not us versus each other. Because like at the end of the day, we are a team, and I trust him very much and he trusts me, I think. So when it feels like something is a personal attack and you want to get defensive, it's like both of us want to go back to being happy and, you know, peaceful. So how can we just attack the problem instead of not attacking each other? We never do that, but just like taking it more personally and feeling like it is an attack. Another thing I try to assume the best in him. I always assume that he wants to make me happy and make my life better. And I hope that he also assumes that I'm trying to make his life easier and make him happy. Because again, sometimes things happen. It can be like, oh, he's doing that on purpose to blah, blah, blah. But like, I married him because he has such a good heart and because he's such a good man. So it's not always easy when you're like in the moment and you're very tired from a baby or whatever. But that's something that we remind ourselves that I think helps a lot, is just like, you know, we chose each other. We love each other. Try to find the good. If you must assume love.
Yeah. And have good boundaries. I think it's super, super big. I've been big on boundaries since day one. And asked Melanie, I think boundaries are massive. Like, if you don't enjoy being spoken to a certain way, let them know. If you want something to happen in a relationship, let them know. If you don't like doing this activity, let them know up front before it's too late, and don't be passive aggressive about it. Like, I'm trying to be super radical and transparent to my wife, because she deserves that. Like, she's my wife, mother of my child. I love her very much. I'll make sure she knows that we're on the same team. These are also my boundaries I have in place. And by having that, it makes it so much easier to be on the same team, on the same page, with no confusions. Because we know, okay, so what she wants, what he wants. Now know not to pass this boundary.
Agree. I think another thing that is surprisingly rare that we do, that I think a lot of people do not do, and I think maybe they would benefit from it, is our beef, so to speak, or any disagreement that we have, it always stays between us. Yeah. I would never come on here and say, oh, Jordan was doing this or Jordan was doing that, or, you know, I don't call my mom crying, Jordan said this to me, blah, 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 or even his mom crying, Jordan said this to me. Once I saw that if you want to complain about your husband, do it to his mom, because she loves him unconditionally. But I don't do that, because we always say this, we'll resolve the fight. It's inevitable, but they don't. They're not there for the resolution and the kissing and making up. So they're thinking, oh, Melanie's husband is the one that does blah, blah, blah. She was unhappy that one time. And we just don't. It's also boundaries. That's our business. We don't need anyone to know about it. I think it makes us much stronger. It also, if I feel tempted, like I have to talk to someone, then I'm like, well, I'm going to talk to him about it. And then we can actually resolve the problem, where if I'm complaining to someone else, that just feels better, but it doesn't actually solve anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the biggest things too. To me, it's like kind of old money principles. Like, don't air out dirty laundry. As well as just super massive. We're on the same page. We have issues. We're grown ups, talk to each other about the things. Not other people, because again, we'll get past that. Like, and for us, for those who don't know my story, I was homeless from 12 to 18. My earliest memories is violence. Like, I don't know what like a good homeless was, but I knew what it wasn't. How I learned how to do differently. So for us, like, I'm super transparent. I'm big on being honest and kind, and we never all fights or conversations. Like when people will call fights, what I would call fights growing up, I've never once done with my wife because we just talk about it, and at most we're just not super enthusiastic while doing so. But overall, like just a conversation because we're on the same page and we know it's us which is the problem, and we are 90% focused on solutions and 10% focused on problems. Okay, this is the problem. Great. How can we find solutions for this problem now moving forward?
Yeah. And I think also part of it is the mindset from the very first date when Jordan said, I'm looking for a spouse, and then I realized that we're aligned on everything and realized that we were probably going to end up getting married. That has been our mindset. We're a team. So to me, sometimes if I'm unhappy about something, I literally will say to myself, we're going to make up eventually. Like, might as well just do it sooner than later, because to us, there's no, out, so to speak. Like, we'll figure it out. I trust him. I love him. I know he trusts me and loves me. And I know we both have this mindset about the partnership. So that makes it easy to do all of the rest of the things, because we just know, it'll end. We'll have to talk through it eventually. So might as well just rip the Band-Aid off and get back to the happiness.
Yeah. Well, Alexander is no longer happy right now, and I think this is one of the big points for the call for the day. For those that are watching this, make sure you drop a question down below. What question you have for us? Happy answers for you as we go down the line. And of course, we go live every single Monday and Friday. And Monday, just me breaking down all things real estate, marketing, sales, psychology, helping you go from elite to world class. And on Fridays, I bring the best of the best for my spouse, other rock star entrepreneurs around the world, mostly in Austin, Texas for now, about all things business, life, and so forth. So, thanks for watching this, guys. Down below, drop some likes, drop some questions, tag your friends, share this video. Who do you know that will love this episode and this podcast?
And happy Valentine's Day. Hope that this helped. And yeah, have a great day.
Yeah, have the best day yet. And communication is key, Jamie. And I'll give you more. Again, talk to y'all soon. The best day yet. Happy Valentine's Day. Awesome.
We love you if you're watching this.
Yeah, we love you. Have the best day yet. And
also, what?
Stay tuned. We might have a little giveaway for an extra Valentine present for people coming soon. So thanks for watching.